What is up, my fellow nerds? Welcome to the Salty Nerd Podcast IRL Tuesday live stream. Thank you all for joining us. We want to give a nice shout out to the chat already. Art the Icky is here. Joker Voice. Guys, Anthony Mark is in the chat again. Mrs. How do you say that, Nadia? Cannoli Sasquatch?
Yes.
Cannoli Sasquatch is here.
Miss Cannoli Sasquatch.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. We have a numerous amounts of topics to talk about today. Looking forward to it. We've got Barbenheimer. We've got Disney stuff going on with Apple. We've got things that go way over my head. We're going to argue. We're going to fight. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff today. I'm joined by my fantastic panel of nerds. Nadia is here, filling in for Jude.
Again.
What's up?
Hello.
I think you might be a permanent fixture of our live streams because Jude is just like, I don't want to do it.
Oh, no.
So, welcome to the show.
All right, that's fine. I'm cool with it. I'm cool.
Matthew Kadish is out, as always, producing the show. What's up, man?
Yep, I'm over here pushing buttons. And I'm very excited to have my good friend WDW Pro back on the
Hey, now, don't push my buttons. Easy, though. WDW right off the bat.
Welcome, sir. How you doing today?
Happy to be back. It's a day that ends with Y, and that makes it a positive one, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, I don't want to tell YouTube what I'm drinking, but I'm drinking.
I mean, unless you work for Disney. Then
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, that,
kind of,
you know.
And joining us from his quarantine room with Dayquil, Matt Vader with a cold. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, how are you? I'm good.
I feel so bad for you. This cold came on to you so fast. Like literally
yesterday.
We were chatting and we were like, yeah, cool. I'll be there tomorrow. And then you did our watch party on Discord last night, and then you were like, in the middle of it, you're like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I'm like, what the heck happened?
It's not gonna work.
I appreciate that you're not bringing that into the studio to us because I don't want to get sick. So thank you, sir.
Unfortunately for all of you, we have technology that allows us to be able to do this from home.
Yeah.
So I didn't exactly get a day off. So it's
look like Jack Nicholson when I do this.
It's all
a little bit.
You look like a Fed from the 1970s.
Yeah.
It's a compliment.
You're trying so hard.
I'll take it as a compliment.
I say roll with it. Go for it. Make it your thing.
I like the glasses. Yeah. I understand why Critical Drinker does it, man. Like
to hide the hangovers.
Oh, we knew.
Go away now.
Stop.
All right.
Alex does a pretty mean Irishman.
It's all right.
Don't let it slip when you go.
No. When I'm actually in the country, there's nothing but American coming out of my mouth.
Let's see how many drinks you get.
Alex is going to be one of those guys. He's going. So like everybody should know, he's going on a trip with his wife to Scotland in a few weeks. He's going to be there a week or so. But he's going to come back and he's going to like have an accent that he's going to not be able to get rid of for 6 months. You know, and we're all going to be going. I'm just gonna be telling you about my trip for like a month and a half. Yeah,
you're like one of those people that come back with slides.
It's gonna be on the screen right here. All right, guys, this is the picture of this thing. Yeah, for sure. We got our first super chat from JT. $2. Shades make you look super sus.
He's not wrong. You look like you're hanging outside the White House on January 6th.
Oh yeah, you do look like a pet.
I'm on the grassy knoll. We're taking the Capitol today, boys.
You just need a button up with a collar.
Listen, I'm not getting blamed for getting demonetized. That was all you.
I was gonna say, we went over a list of ways you could get demonetized. That wasn't on the list.
I think
khakis, you're good to go, my friend.
Oh man,
I think JT needs to try a little bit harder to get under your skin. I think
Whiskey says your indoor shades. No, they're staying now. Let's see. We got $5 from Joker Voice. What's up, brother? Barbie. If it's in a pink box with a pretty pink bow sprinkled with glitter, it's okay to hate men.
Oof.
Alex, dead ringer for Billy Butcher. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Really?
Don't
do that.
Yeah.
He's gonna do his crawl urban accent.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It's diabolical.
You know that you can buy the shirt. You can buy Billy Butcher's shirt now. One of the
I looked up how much his watch is. He has a dope watch that I want to buy.
I think there's a company that made an imitation of one of his Hawaiians. Chris was looking at it. I'll send it to you.
If I was ever gonna like cosplay as something at a convention, it would be Billy Butcher. Yeah, 100%.
You gotta look angry all the time.
Speaking of shirts, the Popcast guys have congratulated us for selling a couple shirts lately.
Yeah.
Oh, we sold a couple shirts.
Amazing. Yeah, if anyone out there wants to get our Salty Nerd or Salty Justice Warrior shirt, it's available over at saltynerdstore.com. They can help support the podcast by getting some of our merch.
Right on. Thank you guys, and shout out to mixtees.com over there at the Popcast. Those guys are awesome.
And see you next week, shades for indoor usage.
Those are his indoor shades.
Yeah, indoor shade. I have different colored ones.
Before.
I have blue ones and red ones. If you want me to wear a different color
You
next
should have
week.
wore pink for today.
I didn't see Barbie. I saw Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So
Well, all the Kens dress in black, so he's pretty on spot.
That's true.
yeah, I'm a Fed.
I
All
mean,
right.
Ken kind of looks, the doll looks like a Fed a little bit.
You think so?
I mean,
He's too pretty.
yeah, look at nowadays how Feds look. I mean, not that they, never mind. I don't want to get demonetized. I'm sorry.
My
Alex,
wife's
you're
like, I
what-
thought
you're-
you weren't gonna. Yeah, I know. She's like, I thought you weren't going to talk about Barbie. I'm not going to talk about Barbie because I didn't see it. But Nadia here has seen Barbie.
I've seen Barbie. I
So-
texted your wife last night.
Did you?
Yeah, I told her
Oh.
to go see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
God.
Spoiler alert. I liked it.
Alex, we need to have a talk about crossing streams, bro.
I know.
And colliding
No, I
worlds.
know.
It's just ridiculous.
It's a classic. You're killing independent George moment.
Oh.
Wives need to be banned
I mean,
from
first
all
I'm
things
friends with
podcast.
Jude. Now I'm working my
Yeah,
way to your wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Worlds are-
that sounded a little weird. But
Worlds
yeah.
are colliding. If JT, if you ever call me Shia LaBeouf again, I am going to ban you from this channel. We actually Alex looks like Shia LaBeouf. Shut up. No, I don't. $2. Thank you, sir. All right. So our first topic.
Try harder, bro. Try
Yeah,
harder.
no, not doing that. That's been said too many times. First topic for today, I kind of wanted to get into Oppenheimer with Vader because him and I are the only. Pro, have you seen Oppenheimer yet?
I have not. I was on location doing some investigation at Walt Disney World, and I have not seen either movie yet, but I may be taking care of that this evening.
Okay, well, we're not going to spoil anything because it is still out in theaters. I'll just give you my general thoughts. Me and V will talk about it. And,
Who wins the war? That's what I need to know. I'm just dying to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a history not documentary, but it's a history biopic on Oppenheimer. So there's not really spoilers to be had. It's all, you can look it up and find out what happened to the guy if you really wanted to.
I never knew Oppenheimer had sex with
Florence Pugh.
Pugh.
She was smoking hot. in that
Really?
scene. Oh yeah, she looked good. Oh, that was the other thing. They really blew that out of proportion. That whole there's like a 15-minute sex scene in Oppenheimer. No, there's not. There's like 30 seconds of a topless woman. That's it.
I think in China and Dubai they CGI'd a black dress over her during that scene. I read yesterday because they don't allow like full nudity.
Who did?
China and Dubai.
Really?
Yeah. For their theaters, they CGI'd a black dress over her during that sex scene.
I thought they were just from the bottom down, like they don't want anything but from
In
the,
China.
Well,
they're
we
just
never saw a
hugging.
bottom. That's a, V.
Really?
Do you remember? Yeah, it's not full frontal.
Man, I thought it was. They hyped it up to be like, oh,
That's
it's
what
going
I'm
to be like
saying.
this full frontal. Like,
No, nonsense.
What
There's
about
no.
Cillian Murphy?
You didn't see any vag in this movie,
No,
did you, V?
No,
No, it's not full frontal. You get a topless woman sitting in a chair for like 3 minutes.
Oh, this is like Titanic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kinda.
exactly.
Well, Titanic actually showed more.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did. That was almost full frontal. Yeah,
It was
no,
it was
Oppenheimer.
pretty tame sex scenes.
It's
I
very
mean,
tame.
Whatever.
See anything for Cillian Murphy?
I think I might have seen his ball sack at a minute.
That's it.
Yeah,
You see
There
more
was a
on
scene-
the
he
Peaky
Lamberted it?
Blinders.
he did. I kind of think he
Maybe-
might have lamberted it.
Maybe I don't recall.
So there's a court scene where he's sitting down in front of like the tribunal or whatever, and he's imagining, or somebody in the room is imagining that he's with his woman, and they're naked. So they have a scene where like everybody else in the room is clothed and he's naked because he's imagining that time that he was with her, and it's super kind of awkward and weird. But the
Mhm.
camera angle is just low enough where you get like a crotch shot of
Oh,
Cillian Murphy, and I'm like, huh,
Cillian Murphy.
Killian.
Is it Killian or Cillian?
I say Killian.
Oh.
Killian Murphy.
It's spelled with a C though.
He's Irish.
Okay.
Go away
Sure.
now.
Well, you know, I like to compare it to that other C word. How do you how is that pronounced? So yeah. So there you go.
So V,
Killian.
my thoughts on this movie. So this fits the bill for every critique that most people have about Christopher Nolan movies.
Okay.
If you don't like how loud he has his music, it's still loud.
So can I ask, like, could you actually hear the dialogue in this movie?
Not
Yeah.
really.
So we got subtitles.
You probably, if you're watching it at home, you're probably going to want to have a subtitle.
Because that's my biggest issue with Nolan movies is like when you see him in the theater, you literally can't hear what anyone is saying.
Yeah.
I went to the DFX theater, so it was like epically loud. And there's a lot of scenes where it's just a group of guys sitting around talking about the ethics of building this bomb, as you would expect out of this movie. but there's just this oppressive freaking Christopher Nolan music laid on top of it, and you're like, I don't, one or the other, bro. One or the other.
Dialogue or music.
Right.
Choose one.
This was
the choice is yours.
This was just another 3-hour-long pretentious vanity project for Christopher Nolan. That's all it was. It was, it had some cool moments. It needed to be trimmed down to 2 hours. The last hour after the successful test could have been completely whacked out. It was just more of his, his time skippy and his color this and his black and white this, and it was it's just. So I don't know what's going on with this guy, because he can put movies like Batman out that we love, but then he has to get all stupid and artsy fartsy with Tenet and this and all these.
It says he wants James Bond next, so we'll see how that goes.
Can you guys name a Christopher Nolan movie you liked that wasn't Batman?
No, not really.
Inception.
Yeah,
No.
I liked Inception.
I didn't mind
Tenet wasn't that bad. Interstellar was
trash.
really good.
Yeah.
I like Interstellar.
Don't give me that nonsense, you guys. Tenet was trash.
I disagree.
We have sat in that studio right there and talked about how shitty that movie was. We hated that thing when we left. It was awful.
Hated it.
Oh, The Prestige. That's a good one.
movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That one's a really good one.
So I do agree with Vader. I think this movie is a victim of Nolan's, like.
Do you think he's getting too big for his head?
At times.
I mean, he puts butts in seats. I mean, people love his
I'll
movies.
go see a Christopher Nolan movie because there's a good chance it's going to be good. I'm not saying this movie's bad. It's just all the negatives that people normally complain about Christopher Nolan movies, they're all present in this movie. They're all there.
Josh Hartnett in it too, right?
Josh Hartnett. He's the guy from like the 90s. He's got
he makes a cameo.
Well, it's more than a cameo.
Or part.
He's in it.
It's interesting to see him come back.
I love that he's coming back because I always liked him as an actor earlier in the 2000s when he was doing movies. I
love him in Penny Dreadful. When
And he was in a movie in the I think early 2000s. It was something about like he wasn't allowed to masturbate for like a month or something like that. Do you remember that movie?
Yes,
40 days.
40 days and 49. Yeah. I love that movie. And he's in Sin City as he does like a hitman cameo in Sin City. I really like that guy. He's in really a good chunk of this movie. He's not like a main character, but he's sprinkled throughout the whole movie. So it's nice to see him. He's looking good. I think he's well on his way. There's literally everybody in this movie. Like you'll be watching it and just some random scientist that's in it for 30 seconds. You're like, hey, that person's super famous. It's crazy. Like there's two people that specifically, and this is not spoiler, but it's just very fascinating to me that totally took me out of the movie. Because when I see these people, I think of something vastly different than a Christopher Nolan movie. There's the one Jewish kid that was working with Oppenheimer. He is the kid from Sex Drive.
I've never seen
You've never seen Sex Drive?
No.
V, remember the dorky kid from Sex Drive?
I don't know.
The guy in the donut suit? Help me out here, buddy.
I don't.
Oh, Jesus. But, Kadish, you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I have. I don't know the main character of Sex Drive, but I remember his best friend who was also in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
Is that that road trip movie? Is it a road trip?
It's a road trip movie. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I think I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it though.
He's in it, and every time I saw him, and I was like, Sex Drive.
I did see
like Can of Purple.
Yeah. And then there's another actor. Now, V, you better back me up on this one.
Jack
Rufus from the Norseman TV show was in this movie. He was one of the main scientist guys that was like during the court proceedings and all that stuff. And he was the one that was kind of free. Yeah, dude.
I
you
don't
didn't recognize
the Roman slave.
Yeah, remember?
The non-erotic
cock massage. And every time he was on screen, I was like, non-erotic cock massages are really nice. You just don't understand how well it feels,
And they're fine because they're not erotic.
It's not erotic. There's nothing sexual about it at all. I saw him on the screen. I was like, oh my God, Norseman. I can't get it out of my head. Totally took me out of the movie.
Well, now
Great
I
actor.
have to go back and watch it.
So would you still, in my mind, I want to go see it because I want to see it in IMAX because that's how
it's presented.
Don't waste your time.
Or would you just stream it?
I would probably say you don't need to see this in IMAX.
Really?
I know I know.
No, not at all.
That's what Christopher Nolan is like. Go see it in IMAX. That's how it's supposed to be presented. It's
bullshit.
Listen, this movie could have been two things and would have made it better. It could have been a 6-hour HBO miniseries like Chernobyl was.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah,
that was a really good.
Yeah.
And because it was long like that, it was like 6 hours long, they were able to flesh out a lot of the stuff and make it make more sense. Or it should have been cut down to a 2-hour movie and just cut some of the fluff out.
Okay.
Either way, it would have been better. I think this like vanity project, 3-hour long, just sitting around courtrooms and talking, and then for like 10 minutes you get the test, and then the rest of the movie is more talking. Like that could have been a mini series, and it would have been much more digestible, much more enjoyable, and you would have been able to do it in your leisure of your own house and really take in what the story is. Because the story is about Oppenheimer. It's not about the bomb. They spend almost no time for the runtime of for how long
it's about
the show.
His life,
Yeah,
right?
it's about his entire life. But they have to do it so freaking fast because they have to fit it in 3 hours that it's just like very jarring. And you're like, oh, now he's older. And then we go back and we see him younger. And then we go forward again and he's older. And then we're in the middle and then we're at the test. And it's just, it's bouncing all over the place. And I'm like, just take your time, do like a 6-hour miniseries and really flush this guy's life out. That would have been much more digestible as a consumer for me.
So you bring up the IMAX issue. Let's pause on that one for a moment, because there's an interesting issue, I think, in terms of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning movies are known to leg out very, very well, something like a 3.2 to 3.5 leg out over their original weekends. Mm-hmm. However, in this situation, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 dropped 65%. That is massive for a Tom Cruise movie. And part of that comes from the fact that both Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer are fighting over IMAX screens. However, Oppenheimer is receiving all of the PLFs and IMAX. And so I think that possibly Oppenheimer, and like you said, you don't have to see it in IMAX to get the full impact of it. But I'm thinking that Oppenheimer actually came in and kneecapped Mission Impossible by taking away those premiere screenings and allowed Sound of Freedom then to take the third place spot, which frankly is remarkable that film is taking third place this far into its run. And Indy is dead. True. Indiana Jones is dead.
Yeah.
The press came out on Indy before the movie even came out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, nah, I'm good. I'll wait for it on Disney Plus. Real quick, we got a super chat from No Money G for $10. My man, thank you so much. Red Letter Media put out a 1.5 minute clip of their long review of Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's 12 Angry Men. Funny if you get a chance. I'll check it out. We love RLM over here. Those guys are some of our favorite content creators. And I watched their review after I got done seeing Oppenheimer, and I'm pretty much lined up with their thoughts on it. I'm in agreement with their analysis of the film for sure. Thank you for the $10, sir.
Do you think Nolan could do a James Bond? I know that was well enough.
Yeah, I think if he has somebody, a studio breathing down his neck and expectations to meet, like with Batman, he took that very seriously. He's like, this is a character that a lot of people love, so I have to do it right.
Yeah.
And those movies are by far the easiest of Nolan's movies to digest. You know, they're very fun. They're popcorn.
I think he has enough ground to have more creative freedom as opposed to like other directors nowadays when it comes to superhero movies and IPs like James Bond and stuff, because he's already shown that he has the talent to make these films.
Oh yeah, he's a super talented guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to me because I feel like, you know, we want directors to be able to have the creative freedom to make their movies, but man, if he gets a hold of somebody like something like James Bond, I don't want a lot of his pretentious artsy fartsy shit in a James Bond movie.
I think
he's you know what I'm saying, with all the obnoxious music and the overbearing.
And I would like to be able to hear the dialogue.
Well, I would feel the studio would say like, "Hey, listen, you got a little bit of freedom, but we got to." Well, yeah, like James Bond, I would feel they would have a little bit more control over.
Because I feel like I said, the Batman movies are pretty much they're pretty good.
Yeah,
like
to be fair though, I had no problem hearing the dialogue in this movie.
In Oppenheimer?
I had no problem at all. I didn't go to a dumb DFX. I didn't spend the extra $5 on a DFX theater. I went to a normal theater. You know, just go watch a normal theater. I went and watched Tenet with Matt when it came out. It was trash. Couldn't understand anything about that movie.
You literally couldn't hear.
You couldn't hear anything.
I saw that.
Comparing Tenet to Oppenheimer, as far as being able to hear the dialogue and stuff, it's not a fair comparison because you can hear this stuff. I had no issue hearing anything in this movie, even when they were like shaking the theater with all the stupid the sound explosions that were just put in there for no reason.
He has
like,
this
Jesus Christ.
He has
It's
this
like, what
like
is going
super
on?
oppressive explosion sound that happens throughout some of the scenes because it's supposed to be like he's thinking about what he's just created, and it gets a bit obnoxious.
It's like, we get it. He's the destroyer of worlds. He's death. Blah 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 blah. who gives a crap? Okay, so
I've never understood why after Christian Bale and Tom Hardy were both indecipherable, why he's not been able to adjust and say, you know what, maybe dialogue should be understood. Maybe we need to run a couple more pass-throughs on the audio on this thing. But it seems to be now a trademark. It's like his J.J. Abrams lens flares.
Maybe he's more of a visual person than maybe he cares more about the visual and the sound.
I could see how that might happen. But with this movie in particular, 90% of the movie is people sitting around talking. You're like, you can't have oppressive audio if you have 90% of your movie with 5-6 guys talking around a table. Like, those two things do not mix. If it's an action movie and mostly it's just visuals and stunts and action fight scenes and stuff like that, sure, throw in some loud music in there, whatever. Not with this. This is very, very different. It's way too overbearing for what is actually happening on screen. I will say the parts that I did like, everything to do with the test was really cool. I loved immediately after it was announced that they dropped the bombs on Japan, him thinking about the consequences of it and him visualizing what's happening to the people in Japan as the explosion goes off. Like, there's a couple of things in there that are really, really cool. So,
I mean, I like Cillian Murphy. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
I think you can see it in his eyes of the emotions that he expressed. Even watching the trailers for it, I could see it there.
Yeah.
So
he's a great actor.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like Peaky Blinders.
We got
not everybody.
It was just 3 hours of a guy really realizing, war is bad.
Yeah.
War is bad. Nuclear bombs.
War is bad.
They're kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Real bad.
It's like, we know.
War's bad.
We know.
Are you sure you're taking Dayquil, not NyQuil?
Let's check this out. I love this. From Boba Fett, Vader's cold is messing with his head, making him think Tenet was ass. You'll realize you're wrong when you feel better.
Tenet was bad.
Pound rocks.
Christopher Nolan's bad, okay? So anyway, that's kind of my final thoughts on Oppenheimer. V, do you tend to agree? Sounds like you agree with me.
Who was that to? Was that to me, or I haven't seen?
No, Matt. Sorry.
Okay.
Matt.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't give this thing any more than like a 2 stars.
Wow.
At the most. I think
will it win awards? That's what they're chasing,
it's going
right?
to win. Probably.
It's going to win every award.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that happen on screen, and normally, like if you go to a normal movie, you're like, oh, they probably did that with some kind of a computer graphic things. But
no, it's all
not
practical. CGI, it's practical.
It's
effects,
practical,
right?
but yeah.
Somebody told me that the actual bomb that exploded was they got permission to blow up one of the Moab bombs. So
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
mother of all bombs.
I feel like he would risk radiation to make this movie.
Oh, he 100%. Yeah, he probably would have if he could. He's like, so can I blow up a nuclear bomb? And they're like, no. You can have this one though. I don't know. I would suggest for audience members, if you guys like our content, you tend to agree with our analysis of movies.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Your wife brings this up. I don't even know if it's eligible to win an award this year because
is it diverse enough to win an award?
The new things come into effect this year, so I don't think it was very white. It's a very white movie. There was no Japanese.
I saw
how dare
TikTok.
that period of
I know, right?
History, yeah.
Not have more inclusivity.
I saw TikTok of some lady scrolling down through and say, "Hey, stop when you see the first Black person or Hispanic person or whatever." And I'm like, and they're scrolling through in so many. I'm like, because it's
history.
But there was that criticism where they were like, there was not a single Japanese person in this movie.
It's historic. It's
the
based
only
off
time
history, like truth. It's based off fact.
And it's called Oppenheimer.
Yes.
It's not called the atom bomb. It's not tracking.
Well, that's
the
not
bomb.
stopping Snow White and the 7 Dirty Hippies. So
they should have called it a bunch of Jews get together in the desert and make a bomb.
Well,
probably not going to try that one.
And we wonder why we keep getting demonetized.
Yeah, it's a limited stream.
You have such a great joke, and
It is
I'm
what it
so
is.
not going to destroy your channel with it.
$1.99 from Foxhound. Oppenheimer is way overrated. Too long. Explosion was poor. I will say I was a little underwhelmed with the explosion.
I mean,
$1.99.
bring movies back to 2 hours or less. I'm over this 3
Hashtag
hours.
make movies 2 hours again.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours or less.
I would love to get the panel's take on this. In my opinion, if these directors want to make these epic movies, these 3 hour long epics or whatever, can we reintroduce intermissions?
I'm
Yes,
100%
that's what I've
down
been
with
saying.
Intermissions. Yes.
Please, like at
Go
an
get a
hour and a half.
snack,
At
go
an
use
hour
the
and a half,
bathroom.
give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just be like,
And,
it's not
and the
gonna,
theater owners
or-
would love it. They would love it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
concessions they'd sell. Like I had to get up. I went to the bathroom and I was like, well, I've got 4 hours left of this movie. I'm gonna go get some more popcorn and another drink or whatever. I spent another $30 at the
I
concession
mean,
stand.
Tarantino did that for Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There was like a 10-minute intermission where you could get up and go to the bathroom. And
It's
stuff like
I
You
that.
could have
think
the
I mean, if you want
dancing
to-
concessions on the screen. Theater owners could raise the thermostat to 82 for the 10 minutes that you're in there. It'll work.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to tell a 3-4 hour movie, like if you want the freedom to do so, put in intermission.
Yeah.
I will happily sit through it.
Here's the thing though. So like I can remember when like a 3 hour movie was like a rarity because
Mhm.
number one, it means less showings in the theater, which means less box office. But there used to be some type of discipline to filmmaking where filmmakers were forced to tell their stories at 2 hours or less. And that forced them to actually look at their story and be like, okay, what needs to be in here? What doesn't? How do I bring this in and, and make it coherent? And in the modern days, it's just like, whatever.
I mean, my husband was really happy that Barbie was 2 hours.
Wait, you dragged Chris to watch that?
Heck yeah, I wasn't gonna go by myself.
I don't know if you're a terrible wife or if he's a bad husband. I can't.
He's a
figure
great
it.
husband. That's why he went to go see it with me.
I'm terrified. My wife's gonna make me go see Barbie.
We need to. I need to get.
I'm
Chris in
trying
the
to see if
room
I can get
alone.
maybe her friends to go with her so I can just watch the kids or something.
Well, should we talk about Barbie?
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Hold
Good segue.
on a second.
Okay, what's up, B?
Because there is something involved with Oppenheimer that you can only
It
see.
should
at
have been 4
Oppenheimer.
hours. That's what
Okay.
you're saying. 4 hours and you get a free catheter on the way in.
Yeah, free depends. Yeah.
If you go to Oppenheimer and you get to watch the previews, you were able to see a theater exclusive trailer for The Exorcist Believer.
No.
I that's one of the reasons why I was
Oh.
considering going to go see it, because The Exorcist is one of the movies my dad made sure I saw as a
Hard
my
pass.
very young child.
Hard pass.
So-
And I
I know you don't like any demonic
Don't-
kind of
listen.
stuff. Yeah.
V, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say that this trailer freaked me the hell out.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, Alex,
Vader,
you know,
don't say this. Chris is watching. He's not going to want to go see this
Um,
with me.
I was not expecting to see this trailer, and I even from the onset, I was like, "What are we watching? What is this?" And then they go, you hear the little chime of the theme, just
Oh, I just
like
got-
that. There's like 2 notes of it, right? And I'm like, "Whoa, is this an Exorcist movie? What is going on?" And after this 2 minutes of this trailer is over, I was terrified. I was just like white palming the edge of my seats. I've never been affected. I haven't been affected by a movie trailer like that in forever.
It was creepy.
It was wild.
I didn't even watch the whole
weird.
thing. I was so freaked out.
Really?
I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't.
if-
I hate that stuff.
I love
For-
horror movies. I worked
It's
on
like-
horror movies.
It's like for the
Man.
first time since like a Star Wars movie, I wanted to tell people who are horror movie fans, even if you're not going to go watch the 3-hour piece of crap movie that it's attached to, it's almost worth it to buy that ticket to just go watch that trailer, because it
Just
is
sneak
something
in.
else, man.
Well,
It
yeah.
is-
Sneak
Well,
in, Stan, watch the trailers.
What's
and then
funny
you're out.
is that when we first started this podcast, Vader had never seen the original Exorcist
No,
because he was too scared to, and he forced himself to go watch it.
I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
Vader, let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
my dad made me watch this by myself as I was probably 11 or 12 years old.
That's
in the
child
graveyard
abuse.
with a
In a
generator.
room, yeah, in a room, my house was haunted. In my bedroom on this tiny TV, he like rented it for me. He's like, "Here you go," and I went to go watch. He's like, "Go watch it by yourself." I was like,
Oh
"Okay."
my god! What?
That's
Oh no, dude, no. Hard pass.
And you
But-
wonder why she
but-
likes Barbie.
yeah.
Almost as
But you know-
traumatizing as the time she watched Rainbow Bride and the Star Stealer.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I love that movie.
when I finally watched Exorcist, I was not I was not impressed with it. I didn't think it was that scary. In fact, I thought it was kind of dumb.
It might not hold up though. Then,
but it doesn't hold up at all.
Mm.
At all. But this movie, if one demon possessed little girl doesn't freak you out, then two will.
Two will.
Okay, and they're connected. It's like they're both possessed by the same demon, and there's some really wicked stuff just in the trailer alone, to where it's like I'm questioning whether I want to go watch this movie.
Well,
I want to go see it now.
It's funny because Vader was texting us about this thing, and Alex is like, "I'm in the theater right now," and then we just get a text from Alex saying like, "Nope, no, nope.
What did I say?
Probably Jude and I will go see this because we like horror movies.
Yeah, I might actually go with you. I might actually go with you.
But we saw Insidious. I mean, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the text message I got from Vader. He says, I want you to go see Oppenheimer strictly so that she can see the trailer for the new Exorcist movie. Good God, man. And I said, and I got that message and I'm like, I feel my phone vibrate and I look at it and I'm like, I'm literally watching it right now. And then I say, hell nah, bro.
Oh, you don't like that kind
No,
of
not gonna go see that. And then I also asked, I don't know if this is spoilers or not. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but there's a character in the trailer that I thought might have been from the original.
It's an old lady.
Sure.
Player 2 is Audi 5. That's my husband. 5,000 on that movie.
Yeah, I'm not into that stuff, man. That stuff freaked me out. I don't like it.
You know, that stuff freaks me out a lot. I don't know why I enjoy going. I mean, we've had horror movie. We were watching the Insidious doing movie nights, and I was the one yelping on the couch. Anytime your dog would run in, I was just like freak out.
It's literally like that scene from Talladega Nights. It's like, don't you bring that evil upon me. Like, I do not want any of that nonsense
I feel
around.
like
I just thought it was
confront it.
I thought it was kind of cool though. Just I thought it was neat that it was a theatrical exclusive trailer. You cannot find this on YouTube.
That's rare. Yeah.
Well, they need to do stuff to start getting people back in the theater.
Yeah,
because I mean, the turnaround time, and Dubs, you can probably comment on this. The turnaround time from theater to streaming is like literally like 2-3 weeks. It's like there's no reason to go see it in the theater. Like there needs to be a reason to actually go to the theater. Theaters need to start competing in some way for your ticket price.
I remember you had to wait almost a year before it came out on DVD. You're like, oh man,
we're down to the standard right now. I think is 45 days, and that's
so fast. That's crazy.
Well, they used to do theater exclusive trailers for certain big IP
they did
products,
it for
right?
they did it for Jurassic World, the last one that just came out, Fallen Kingdom. They had a 5-minute not prequel. What's the word, Kadish, for the
like a sneak peek?
Yeah, it's kind of like a sneak peek. It was a
preview,
a 5-minute preview for the movie, but you only could see it in theaters, and it was only showing during like this. Well, I can't remember what movie it was attached to, but there was a good portion of the JP fandom that was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna go buy a ticket just so I can go watch this 5-minute, little epilogue or whatever." So yeah, I can totally see that. If for movie fans, like hardcore movie fans, that's a draw. Like I'll go to the theater.
Does this movie come out in October by any chance?
The Exorcist movie?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because if so, perfect timing.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when people release horror movies outside of
in the
horror
summer
season.
Yeah. Like Evil Dead would have been probably better if it had closer to spooky season.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like didn't they come out in
Insidious.
February or whatever?
Yeah.
That's weird. It's a weird timing for that.
Yeah. I wonder what the roster will be for horror movie. I know there's a couple of them coming out soon in the fall that are going to make its way.
We got $5 from Backyard TARDIS, our top supporter here on Tuesday's show. Backyard TARDIS, $5. I don't think I've liked a single Nolan film, and yes, that includes Batman. How dare you, sir? I just don't get the appeal. You think, okay, so we were talking about that earlier for our Patreon material. If you want to catch that, go to saltynerdclub.com. But we were talking about overrated directors. And
overrated movies.
Overrated movies, and then we mentioned overrated directors too.
I mentioned an overrated director.
Yeah. You want to start a fight? Go ahead, start a fight.
Wondering.
Go ahead.
Well, who do you think?
I think sometimes Tarantino can be a little bit overrated.
How
Get out of this
dare
video
you?
right now.
Sometimes, jeez.
out of here?
No, it was Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah.
Every single movie he's ever made is overrated.
I feel like that's an easy answer though.
Well,
That's what we
What
said.
about-
What about Wes Anderson though? What's the thoughts on
Oh
that?
yeah, Wes Anderson
Not-
to
not a
me is a
fan.
little overrated too.
I
Some
don't-
of his stuff
I
is
don't
good.
feel
It's
like
hit or miss.
Wes Anderson movies are so beloved that they can be overrated. I think they're just rated.
He's got another one coming out too soon. It was just
it already came out.
No, not the Astro one. There's
A Wes Anderson movie?
another one. I just
I
saw the
want
news
a crossover.
today.
Fantastic Mr. Fox versus Isle of Dogs. That would make me happy.
Oh,
Yeah,
are those
good.
Wes Anderson films? Both of
Yes.
those?
Yeah.
I like those. So I guess I like Wes Anderson movies because I like both those movies.
I feel sometimes you when you watch a movie and they're like, oh, Wes, you don't. He has a certain style for some of it, but then there's things like that. You're like, oh, I didn't
You know
if
what
it was
might be
Wes
an
Anderson
overrated movie?
Paul
Barbie.
Blart, Mall Cop.
Oh, why you gotta put me on the spot like that?
Yeah.
Oof.
So there's
I don't want to give spoilers.
there's 4 dudes here who haven't seen Barbie, and there's 1 woman here who has seen Barbie. So I'm not really going to comment on the movie itself. I don't know anything about it. I think the
Metaphor for the world right now, guys.
I think the reaction to it is fascinating and
It is.
also very unexpected for me. I was just like, oh, Barbie movie. It's from Hollywood. It's written by people who we already know are very heavily leaning in one direction. The complaints that it's woke is like, well, duh. But that's from a guy's perspective, like, oh, it's anti-male. And I'm like, it's a Barbie movie. Of course it is. Like, what are you talking about? How is that not expected? But I'm hearing from both female and male. I'm hearing things from our good friend Tugs. She walked out, or at least got her money back or
Yeah.
something. She's like, I hated it. And then we get people like you. You're like, oh, I liked it. I thought it was fun. There's also guys who took their daughters to go see it and said, I thought it was just a fun, goofy Barbie movie. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And then there's guys like Ben Shapiro who are freaking out
Who
about
made a
it.
43
I'm like,
minute, probably multi-million-dollar
Oh,
review of it.
whatever.
I have not watched a single anybody else's
Listen.
review because I was waiting to go to this with no bias. I wanted just to watch it just based on my own experience and stuff.
Mhm.
And I liked it.
Okay.
I did.
What did you like about it?
Now, art is subjective, so I don't want to say anybody's opinion is wrong. It's completely subjective, but in my opinion, I think the overreaction of it being woke and stuff is an overreaction to it. I think that it's Barbie. Barbie's always been a girls can do whatever they want to put their mind to, kind of the same mentality of what used to be that 90s commercial, like anything you can do, I can do
The
better.
Nike
Yeah.
commercials with Michael Jordan.
Let
I
me ask you this question.
Yes.
Do you think Barbie can get her ass in the kitchen and make me a sandwich?
But that's the thing. In this movie, it didn't just play to Barbie being, like in a power suit and going to space and being an astronaut and stuff. There's also a little bit of Barbie, like motherhood
Homemaker?
and homemaker and
Oh,
stuff.
that's nice.
Like this movie actually made me cry towards the ending of it because of the maternal, mother to daughter thing. Because men don't understand. I'm going
Sure.
to say most men don't understand the thing about getting a Barbie. And most of the time when you get a Barbie as a child, it's either from your mother, your grandmother. Those are special times. So I think there's a little bit of, is there woke stuff in it? Yes. Is it a bit of an overreaction to it? I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to each their own. Some
you're
people
not going to
think it
catch
was
any
trash.
heat from me. I don't.
Yeah.
If you like the movie,
I'm
great.
sure.
I'm glad you had a good time. I don't. If people out there who hated it, okay, I guess. I'm so not interested in this movie.
And that's fine. I think this movie was made for women. Sometimes movies aren't made for everyone. The theater I went to was a ton of women in it. Groups of women going for a girls' night, mothers, grandmothers, daughters. So I 100% don't think any man will really like this movie.
I kind of wanted to go to the theater and stand outside the Barbie theater and just
and get arrested.
Now,
and make every dude I saw go in there give me their man card.
somebody did
Oh,
say I
stop.
would not bring young kids to it. This is not a Barbie for young
See,
kids.
that's the thing. So
It's
and
not.
I'm
It's
getting
for
pushback.
women who grew up
Yeah.
with Barbie.
I was
That's-
getting some pushback from these guys today because I was like, this movie is. I'd never felt once that this movie was marketed towards kids.
Yeah,
It
no.
was PG-13.
You could take maybe a 15-year-old,
Yeah,
maybe high
young
schoolers
teenager,
and
sure,
stuff.
sure.
And there are some jokes that probably would go overhead, but this is not a movie to take your 7-year-old who has a Barbie to go see. This is
Yeah.
it's not.
As soon as they put a PG-13 rating on it, I was like, oh, so they're not targeting young
But the
kids.
commercials, the trailer, the marketing for this was targeted towards young kids.
yeah, and I'm
Which-
sure
which is
Mattel will have Barbie
successful.
toys and stuff. Yes, their marketing by far
Yeah,
surprised me.
81% under the age of 35, which is just unheard of in terms of demographics. Now, when it comes to Barbie and whether or not it is woke, whether it is anti-male, etc., I simply put it under a single test that I would do for the opposite side as well. If you're looking to find out is a movie anti-woman, anti-female, and that test is is there a positive character that one could look up to who is male in the movie? If there's a single character, then okay, let's have at it. And if there's not a single character who's positive, who's male, then, perhaps we have an issue with the script writing. So that's the only test I would give to it.
I could see that, but I also could see it from as somebody who had Barbies as a kid. I had like 30, 40 Barbies and maybe one Ken, and Ken has always been an accessory and a throwaway. So is there a positive?
Is there a single man? Yeah, is there a single man?
No, I wouldn't say there's
not a single man that's good.
Not good. They're not bad either, but I don't think the portray of Ken is what the modern day man is. I think it's more so from a point of view of like a child playing with it, because little girls don't care about Ken. I mean, you get one Ken doll and that's it. It's kind of an accessory to Barbie. I also liked the fact that they didn't romanticize Barbie and Ken together. While Ken was kind of longing for Barbie, I looked at it too. When I was young and played with Barbie, I didn't have any concept of a romantic relationship. So to make it where Barbie didn't see Ken as a romantic interest was really interesting to me, that she just wanted to, in a sense, be friends with him. So
nobody likes to get friend zoned, okay? And
I know.
Any
Ken got
adult,
friend zoned.
any adult who play with dolls are lame, okay? Any adult who plays with dolls,
show us your stacks of dolls that you play with.
Yes.
Don't be that guy, okay? Don't be that guy.
I wouldn't say this movie is anti-man or anti-men.
Yeah, your Funko Pops.
Oh, Funko Pops.
Hand me over your man card, V.
Those are
oh my gosh, it's a library of Funkos.
Listen, here's the thing, though. Those are actually collectible and worth money.
Sure. That's what every dude who collects dolls tells themselves.
None of those Funkos over there are worth less than $60.
Ken, the eternal friend zone. I like that.
Real quick, before Cadis takes on, V, can you just read the super chat for $2 from the Dork Knight?
No. I'm not doing it.
All right. Sorry, Danny.
He thinks every stream he thinks I'm gonna be bought for $2. No.
Oh, all right.
$2 is not enough.
I heard that Margot Robbie is excessively mid in this movie.
Oh yeah. No,
what does that mean? I'm too old to know what mid
she's
means.
Like not good looking.
Aren't you on X?
Something.
Aren't you on X? Aren't you doing?
There is
a
really good Margot Robbie joke in the movie that laughed, and mind you, my theater laughed. Like everybody was laughing, everybody was having a good time. So I just, it's not for everyone. But is it my movie of the year? No. Does it have rewatch value? No.
Yeah. So
but I enjoyed it.
There was a big tweet thread on X
about
Margot
Robbie
not about this guy saying that
maybe that
Margot
makes it
Robbie,
part of the X Files.
Margot rated X. Margot Robbie was excessively mid.
Yeah.
And everyone went after this guy saying like, bro, are you gay? why are you gay?
I will say Margot Robbie is the perfect Barbie to me. Watching this, and there's little things in the movie where when they're in Barbie land, she's like making breakfast or drinking, and there's nothing in there. So like when you're playing with Barbies, where it's just like plastic food and stuff, and it brought a lot of memories back as a kid with my sisters playing with Barbies. I mean, I can overlook the woke stuff to see where the perspective of the movie was coming from.
Sure. I've heard that before.
Saying that Amy Schumer was not the right choice then.
Yeah, no, maybe for that Margot Robbie joke, if you ever go see it, yes, maybe Amy Schumer would have been better picked for that.
Well, Amy Schumer said she dropped out because it wasn't woke enough.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, not everything can be for everybody. Not everything can be written for both sexes.
Well, Kadish made an interesting point in our Patreon stuff. Go to saltynerdclub.com for Patreon content. I'm gonna feed that in every once in a while. He said that maybe not a good comparison, but a comparison to this movie as far as like being for everybody is like the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, that's for everybody,
right?
Yeah,
that movie made gangbusters money, and everybody went to go see it of all walks of life, of all ages, and loved it. Had a great time. Whereas this movie apparently is divisive to people. And it's not marketed towards everybody. It's marketed to a very specific group of people, like women,
women
and generational, grandmothers, mothers, daughters. Guys are kind of getting left out, which is fine. Like not every movie has to be directed to it. It doesn't matter to me. I didn't play with Barbie, so I don't care.
G.I. Joe's not meant for me.
But why not market your movie to everybody and have Ken play a better part that would actually might appeal to boys and.
But I
and
can
guys.
see it from a
Ken
point of
has
view
always
of,
played second fiddle to
yes,
Barbie.
Ken's always been nothing in a sense. I mean,
I think
no offense to
so the point I was trying to make,
fans.
the point I was trying to make was that there used to be what was called the Pixar formula, right?
Mhm.
And I think Illumination has kind of like adopted this for like their movies because their movies are so successful, and kind of like John Lasseter's primary gospel for Pixar movies was like, our movies are for everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's not just about inclusivity, it's about not excluding people by villainizing them and stuff like that. And so if you look at the Mario Brothers movie, yeah, there's some girl power stuff in there, but not at the expense of, hey, Mario, brothers, family, relationships. Like there were universal themes throughout Mario Brothers that everyone could relate to. And so like when you have a movie that is based off of a property that young girls have grown up with and that influences young girls, and you make it for older people with lots of political messaging and like stuff like that layered in, it makes you question the motivation behind it, because it should be a movie for young girls, and it should be a movie where boys and men could go and watch it with like their daughters and sisters and stuff like that and still enjoy it and not feel like they're being unfairly targeted.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that. Again, I can understand everybody's issues with it. I completely acknowledge it. For me, I can turn my brain off from all that stuff and just enjoy the fact that it's a Barbie movie that's targeted towards people who grew up with Barbie, not everybody.
So here's an example. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the social phenomenon question. And I think this is the big one that we need to start asking, because this movie has had a phenomenal Monday. We don't know what the Tuesday is going to be, but if it holds like this, then it's going to have an astounding second weekend. It already had a first weekend that was just out of this world. So here's what we got to wonder. Ever since the meme, the quotable quote of "Go woke, go broke" came out, the only exception to that has been Captain Marvel, which was Trojan horsed in. Now, but without exception, beyond that film, if it goes woke, it really struggles. Okay, we don't need to go through the list of all the films that have attempted it, but it's never succeeded. Hollywood has been completely on board, though, with continuing to try. Now we've got Barbie. Here's the question now we have to ask ourselves. Is go woke, go broke only true if you are aiming for general or masculine audiences? Is it the exact opposite if you are aiming for a female-centric demographic? And not only that, but if you aim for that demographic in the way that Barbie is, does it create a frenzy and a phenomenon in which we may get tons of rewatchability out of this particular demographic? Because these numbers are just nuts. Like this Monday is crazy. I don't have it in front of me right now, but the Monday for Barbie, let's see, it's what do we get from Monday? Monday is $26 million. I mean, that's crazy. So that's my question, I guess, is does go woke, go broke apply only when you're not discussing female-centric franchises, perhaps?
I don't think so. I think it would. I think it depends on the movie and media. I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Well, that's the reason for the question. I'm curious what everybody thinks about, because
I'm not qualified.
We're learning on the fly here.
I feel, to me, Barbie doesn't have rewatch value, and I don't know.
Well, okay, so
think-
here's
Now
the
you've
thing.
stumped me, Pro. You've stumped me completely.
It needs rewatchability.
Yeah.
If it's going to hit, okay, so we had an insider leak out to us that Mattel wants $850 million. Okay, and Mattel has a lot riding on this because Mattel wants to launch their own little universe of cinematic movies, not necessarily interconnected. They want Hot Wheels. They want Polly Pocket. Lena Dunham is already connected to Polly Pocket.
Oh, no.
J.J. Abrams is already connected to Hot Wheels.
Oh, no.
So Mattel wants to do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
anything that woman touches.
But if you want to hit 850 million, which by the way is not even close to Mario, and so it's possible to do this with these uber popular films. But if you want to get to 850, you're going to have to do that riding on this one very specific demographic, right? Women, specifically women, probably 45 and under, although the older crowd will continue to some degree, but particularly women 45 and under. And as this goes on, probably less and less of the child age, right? Okay, so you're going to have to wring out every dollar you can from that demographic. I don't know if they can, but I'm also looking at this and wondering, is this some sort of phenomenon that I did not anticipate? I've said it would be a hit. I've said it would be a sleeper hit. It clearly is that. But if it wants to get to that 850, women have to keep going back and back and back to see it.
I don't think it's going to make it.
I don't think it's going to make it.
It's
Even
already
with
made
the
money, so it's already a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I called it. I knew last time that this was going to be, because it's marketed towards women. Women uses as a reason to be eventful in a sense, like girls' nights, doing stuff around it. There's been Barbie themed parties. Everybody I see on my Twitter is like buying pink dresses to go see it. They're making it an event out of it. But to me, I don't think it has rewatch value. Like, I wouldn't go see it again in theaters, nor would I bring anybody under high school age to go see this.
All right, so then let's ask this question about it. Okay. Is it being driven then? Okay, so there's three things, and perhaps they're mixed. Is it being driven by the fact that it's Barbie and there's never been a Barbie movie such as this? Is it being driven by the woke factor, the smash the patriarchy idea? Or is it being driven perhaps by the fact that there has not been, in the past many years, films aimed at women in this way? So if you'll recall, all through the 90s, the early 2000s, we get How to Lose a Guy, we get Legally Blonde, you get Clueless. None of that has existed. So has this created a powder keg, a pink powder keg, where finally women get a movie that was made for them and they go support it in droves? I don't know which of those three or what percentage that is.
I don't think it's the smash the patriarchy thing. I don't think that would drive women to go see this in theaters. I think it's more of the nostalgia of Barbie as older people would want to go see it.
Recognition.
Yeah, brand recognition. Everybody has a memory. Anybody who's gotten Barbie has a memory about Barbies as kids and playing with it. But I also think the go woke, go broke controversy that's happening all over all medias is also driving people to go see it, because they're curious to see what's the big deal about it. Why? How could a Barbie movie be a go woke, go broke movie?
I don't know.
That's why I'm saying, like, I think it's people's interest to go. That's what interested me.
Well,
yeah. I think this is. Go ahead, V.
I was just saying what she's saying is people are going to go watch it because there's 1,000,001 YouTube channels just like ours that are devoting hours of our time to discussing.
Here we are talking about it.
This stupid fucking movie that none of us have gone and watched. Okay.
Well, I think it's also.
And I'm not gonna go watch this movie, and I'm taking this vow right now that once this discussion is done, I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it again on this channel.
Yeah, so, I agree. I'm in agreement with you.
Well,
this is like a one and done thing for me.
The negative feedback of it, all these videos that are calling it woke and stuff, I think that also is driving people to the theaters to see what it's about.
The Barbara Streisand effect attacks again.
But I think if these videos didn't exist, if nobody said anything, I don't think it would have been. I don't think it would have made as much money as it was. But I think there's a curiosity of like Barbie's always been an empowerment figure.
I kind of disagree with that. And Dubs, you can weigh in on this if you want, but basically,
I've got your back, I think, until I hear what you say.
All right, we're ready to do that.
The brand of Barbie, there was going to be no way that this movie wasn't going to make money. Nope. It's the same thing with Super Mario Brothers. It's like the brand alone would guarantee X amount of money on opening weekend. So the question then becomes, it's like a studio took this brand and said, we know that we're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars off this brand alone. So we're going to pump in every subversive message we can think of to influence young minds and put it out there because we know it's not going to affect it. And so the question then becomes, okay, do people trust any new Mattel or Barbie movies coming down the line with their children? Because at that point, it's another Disney scenario where basically Disney's secret
agenda with
with indoctrinating kids with certain political ideals that their parents might not agree with. Is it now Mattel's brand where every Mattel movie coming forward is going to have this subversive message in it, and does that damage the brand long term? And that's really what this whole controversy is about. It's not about, oh, is Barbie woke? It's about, what is this movie that's being marketed to my young daughter, teaching her about men and women and so on and so forth? And does that jive with what I want them to be learning?
Sure.
And so it becomes a parental issue as opposed to like, oh, wokeness, blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah.
It becomes, it's like, are you going to rent this for your child on streaming? Are you going to buy her Barbie toys going forward? Like the entire opening of this movie was kind of from what I understand, a thinly veiled message against motherhood, where you have young children basically destroying their dolls in a 2001 parody. But the message is that
she's actually seen the movie, so I'd
No.
like to hear her say it.
No, I don't.
I would like her to chime in on this, but this is what I understand how the movie starts, where basically a bunch of young girls destroy their dolls and then worship on the altar of Barbie, which is more of a commercialism type thing. And in a weird way, that's kind of like an anti-motherhood message.
Okay, yes, I can see that, because they were playing with baby dolls, and for the longest time in doll history, I guess, baby dolls, it's always been baby dolls, which tend to be like leading towards like, you're going to feed the baby, you're going to wash the clothes and stuff. And then Barbie comes along, and it's a different type of doll, where now she can be an astronaut, now she can be a businesswoman, but the thing is, later on in the movie, then there's a turn of motherhood and the connection of mothers and daughters and stuff, and a positive message to that. So
maybe that opening scene might have been more of like Barbie came in and just dominated the doll market.
Yes.
I think that,
I wouldn't say it's a negative look into motherhood, because down the line towards the end of the movie, there's more of a positive look on the connection between mothers and daughters, and there's a great mother-daughter storyline in there too. So I wouldn't say it's like anti-motherhood. If it was anti-motherhood, I would totally be out.
So one of the interesting aspects of this weekend's box office is the Barbenheimer phenomenon, where basically you have a movie that's marketed towards women with one of the biggest IPs in the world, and then you have a movie that's marketed towards men. It's kind of like checking all the boxes. It's a Nolan film. It's dramatic. It's got a bomb in it, stuff like that. And so you have the double whammy, which comes in and basically dominated the box office. Mission Impossible got thrown to the sidelines. Indiana Jones is effectively dead. And then you got like the little movie that could, The Sound of Freedom, that is the most profitable movie of the year.
The little movie that could.
It has not even had an international release.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like, I want to hear WDW's take on this, because this is like a weird perfect storm where like we've never had a situation like this before in a time period where theaters are so on the ropes and movie studios are so desperate for money. But before we get to Dubs, I just want to do two things real quick. First of all, Astro Nerd Boy, we missed your super chat on Saturday. Really sorry about that. Hail Astro Nerd Boy, one of our salty superstars, big supporter of the channel. And we also have a thing from Danny.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to wait to pivot because this is trying to change the subject, but Barbie.
That's Joker.
No, that's Joker.
That's the Joker one. Where's Danny?
Well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah. Enough about Barbie.
Yeah, I know.
$5 from Dork Knight. Enough about Barbie. Do you think The Flash would have done better in the box office if they had replaced Ezra Miller with basically anyone else?
No.
No.
And I like the movie, so no.
I think the amount of money they would have spent on reshooting and recasting would have cost them any amount of profits they might have made.
I'll tell you this: if the Flash had actually mattered within the grander scheme of the DCEU, then it would have been better. Like I think most people would have accepted Ezra Miller if the movie actually mattered, but James Gunn made it clear this movie doesn't matter, and so
does the Blue Beetle matter?
That movie's
so like
DOA
this is just a one shot type thing, and so people were like, "Oh, I'll wait for video," or like whatever, and then 3 weeks later, it's out on streaming. So
yeah,
but that was another one that like really hurt the studio, like Warner Brothers, especially like Disney. Disney is having a terrible year. I think that they were expecting more money to come in from Indiana Jones.
Disney is down 70% since 2019 in terms of box office revenues.
Yeah,
70%.
So Dubs, what's your take on the Barbenheimer weekend, and how is that affecting things in Hollywood?
Well, the real winner here is, of course, the cinema owners, the theater chains. They needed this badly. We've had 2 weekends during this summer of 2023 where, adjusted for inflation, we had to go back to like 1975 to find worst weekends. So, that really puts it in perspective. Sometimes it's hidden by the fact that ticket prices are astronomically high, outpacing even historic inflation. And so, often you can see these big numbers and you think, oh, well, everything's fine. And then you start to realize, oh, wait, there's no butts in seats. This is all smoke and mirrors. And if there's no butts in seats, there's no popcorn, there's no giant sodas. There's no
Yep.
Whoppers or other candies being sold. And so theater owners desperately needed this. Now, this doesn't get them back into the realm of normalcy even yet, but who knows? Maybe we could get a second Barbenheimer this next weekend. Maybe Haunted Mansion could get some kind of tiny dent. Not really. We all know that.
There's
But, you know,
Yeah.
there's a movie coming out August 11th. It's what is it? The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
I want to see that. That
It's-
looks really good.
It's Dracula on a boat.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Dracula on a boat. That's our thing. We're gonna do that until it comes out. Dracula on a boat.
it looks great.
It looks great. It
I
looks
want to
awesome.
borrow
Yeah.
your lifesaver.
I hope I hope people go and see that one. And then we also have the Meg 2, which is a cheesy popcorn flick.
I'm seeing that too.
Turn your brain off and go watch a shark eat people.
Isn't Dune 2 as well this year?
That's
Yes.
November, I believe.
Yeah, it's later.
November.
That's like
We've got the
Oscar season.
Hunger Games prequel. We've got the Marvels.
Eh.
And yes. Yeah. So we've got Dune 2.
Is
the
anybody really
Marvels.
excited for the Marvels? Like,
No.
I can't wait.
I f-
Kamala
I feel-
Khan. Yeah.
They should have just Batgirled that. Just they would have.
Batgirl- is that how the term now
I guess
for like
they
just
should have
axing
just
a movie?
Batgirled that.
Just Batgirl that thing.
Well, Dubs, weren't you talking about? I think you did something with Culture Casino where you were talking about how Disney's trying to like think about delaying some of their movies because of the actors' strike, waiting for them to be able to do actual like
promotions and
promotions and
stuff.
stuff.
and stuff.
Well, that
Yeah,
came
but-
out of
but-
Bloomberg.
But it
And-
seems like not having Brie Larson do publicity for your
It's
movie
actually
is a
doing
good
better
thing.
for the
Yeah.
movie.
Right. I mean, take it while you can, Disney. But, that came out of Bloomberg. And the interesting thing is there's really only 3 major theatrical releases that Disney has left. So when they talk about they're going to delay movies, well, it narrows it down dramatically. The only one I can really see them delaying is Wish. The very fascinating thing about if they delay Wish is that would actually
And
move their
nobody
marketing
knows-
spend.
Nobody knows what the hell that movie is.
Well,
Never
and,
heard of it.
and for Disney, that's probably the way it's going to stay. But if they move that movie out of all of them, that gets that marketing spend out of the fiscal year. And that's a really big deal because Disney needs to clear out any expenditures that they possibly can because they have to buy Hulu. Hulu is going to have a cost of somewhere around $20 billion with a B. Disney wanted it for $12 billion. Comcast said, no, it's worth 35. Now they're in arbitration. Disney has to buy it. There's no way out of it at this point. They've already committed to it. And so, Indy really did hurt them. And so now when you're seeing them push movies like Wish out of this fiscal year, that's part of what they're attempting to do is try to get the marketing spend out of that to try to scrounge up every dollar they can. Now, the funny thing about the Marvels is that when it comes to the Marvels, we're seeing already, although, let's say this, the people who don't focus very closely on this are not going to notice this sort of thing. But we're seeing desperation of Disney in that they have 2 Disney Plus series that were intended to drive up enthusiasm for the Marvels. That is Miss Marvel and Secret Invasion. However, those are tied for the 2 lowest live-action MCU shows ever for Disney Plus.
Yep.
And guess what that also means? Well, it means that nobody's watching it. Nobody's excited for the Marvels. And so Disney has made their move. The move being that they are now going to put Miss Marvel onto ABC. They're going to do a binge watching thing back-to-back Sundays on ABC. And Secret Invasion, this is the first time we've ever seen this before. Secret Invasion is going to Hulu now. And so they are moving these things to other platforms to try to find eyeballs because they are very concerned that the Marvels could be another Indiana Jones, and they cannot afford another Indiana Jones.
And
It's-
the Marvels is locked in. It's being released.
they-
Is it finally?
they would
Because
take
I know they
contractual
delayed
fines.
it. They delayed it multiple times, didn't they?
Well, what they did is they swapped it with Haunted Mansion in order to not incur a theatrical fine for breaking the contract with the big chains. But yeah, it's locked in.
Why are they releasing Haunted Mansion now? I mean, just like Haunted Mansion would make more sense during October.
Dubs just said so. Like they had to
They
swap
had to
it
swap
with
it.
Miss
Oh.
Marvel in order to prevent from being in breach of contract. Because they have these theatrical windows locked in. It doesn't matter what movie they put in those windows, but they
As long
have
as
to
it's
release
something.
something. Yeah.
So
I
Dub-
don't know. I feel Miss Marvel's just going to be bad.
I'm just gonna call you Dub. Dub.
What up, Shades?
W.
I'm sorry, man. I apologize for all my co-hosts.
Dubs, I'd like to hear your takes because we're going to pivot over to Disney a little bit because this is your realm of expertise.
Pivot away.
I recently watched Bob Iger's interview where he basically said, we're going to be spending less money on our projects and we're going to be doing less of them when in regards to like the big budget stuff like Star Wars and whatnot. Are they getting the message, or are they just trying to save money at this point, and they're going to continue along the same lines of essentially destroying these IPs that we know and love, continuing down this message of, you know, we're gonna put all this political stuff into our movies and hope for the best.
So it's funny you should ask that.
Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
So this afternoon, I released a video. So about 2.5 hours ago, I released a video where we have a number of sources, and we're trying to get a whistleblower able to be on the channel perhaps this weekend, maybe next week. But we've had a number of sources who've been coming out of various divisions telling us why Disney has not yet course corrected, which is what you would anticipate, right? You would think that given that they've had a 70% drop in box office revenues, considering that even their final segment, their final division that we thought was successful, that's Disney Cruise Lines, is going to drop hundreds of millions of dollars in this quarter. Given that the last quarter they dropped hundreds of thousands of subscribers in North America at the same time that Netflix is adding millions, you would think that from an investor standpoint, this is the time, lest you earn the ire of Nelson Peltz, the proxy war specialist, this is the time to pivot to something better. The reason that Disney is not, though, however, is that Iger is back in charge. He's at the helm, and the head of their board is a guy who was serving, as the head of Nike. They are all heavily connected with these institutional investors and China. And the issue here is that, according to various sources out of various divisions at Disney, we're talking about Team Disney, we're talking about merchandising, advertising, and higher. Word on the street is that talking about the real reasons that audiences are tuning out of Disney is forbidden. It's not allowed in Burbank, because if you do, you're ostracized. And so you can't articulate, hey, I think that not so secret agenda is killing us. And so because you can't say that, it is stifling the free speech and the free discourse inside the company to be able to say, hey, here's how we can fix this. Here's how we can turn this around. And so you take a look at The Little Mermaid, for example. Okay, so The Little Mermaid is going to wind up at around $550 million global. And you would say, well, that's not bad. Well, it needed $800 million to break even. And it's being compared to Aladdin, which had over $1 billion at a time when movie ticket prices were something like 20% cheaper. So that's about half the audience or less of Aladdin, which is way less than Lion King, which is way less than Beauty and the Beast. And yet Disney is not course correcting because the people inside the company are too afraid to stand up and say what they really think about the decisions that have been made and what the response has been from the audience.
I've got a wife and 3 boys. And for me to take them all to a movie for a family night out is like close to $150, if not more, if we buy popcorn and all that other stuff. And the only movie that I've taken the entire family out to go see is Mario Brothers.
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, with Disney, you have to nowadays. I feel like
I have to pre-screen
you
it.
have to pre-screen it. Yeah.
My wife and I already have this discussion all the time. We're like, if it's a Disney movie, we watch it first, and then we decide if they go see it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to spend the money to pre-screen a movie at the theaters. We're going to wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. Because the only reason I have Disney Plus at this point is because they have Bluey, and Bluey's freaking amazing. It's an Australian cartoon.
I know what it is.
It's all about family. It's amazing. Like, if you're looking for good, clean content for your kids, go check out Bluey. It's unfortunate that's on Disney Plus. But
what's funny is Disney has censored that show a number of times because it's not by Disney, and Disney doesn't like its values necessarily.
I've checked into the censorship thing. It's most of the time it has to do with terminology that is almost exclusively like Australian. Like they use slang words.
Listen, it has to do with passing gas. That's what it has to do with.
Yeah, it's not. It's. There's a couple of things. There's like one that has to do with pregnancy, but most of the time they censor it because words that they use in Australia for slang don't translate to an American audience, so they change it a little bit.
Well, I would like it if they would. I like it. They need to dub it because that would even be more humorous. You know, if it was like,
Mom, Bingo came to me and she made a
fart.
That's pretty good.
But like as a parent, like you don't trust Disney. You don't trust Disney anymore.
Yeah.
You just don't. You have to watch it first and see.
I mean, Disney used to be the gold standard for family entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like when Disney was associated with something, you're like, I could leave my kids to watch this.
Mhm.
Only for 80 years. That's not a long run.
Nowadays, the brand has had such damage done to it by these activists within the company that, like, they're hurting. Like I don't think Disney has ever been in such dire straits before financially, and they don't even realize like the extent of it until like more stuff is coming out. Like Indiana Jones should be ringing alarm bells down there because you have what's arguably one of the most popular franchises in history, stuff that young men grew up loving, and it's all on our top 5.
It's always on top movie lists.
Yeah. Like I grew up wanting to be Indiana Jones, right?
Raiders is probably a perfect film. I mean, let's just get
And when it comes down to it, nobody showed up for this movie.
Because it was
Indiana
bad.
Jones movie. And going back and watching the fourth one, I'm like, the fourth one's actually better because of this movie. So it's well, check it out, Vader. You might be surprised. But the thing is the thing is that the damage, like we had our first Star Wars film that didn't make money, Solo. We have Disney Plus costing the company money. Like there are all these warning signs that they just seem to be ignoring. Like you were talking about Bob Iger's interview. The DeSantis campaign, whether you're political or not, they put out something on X, formerly known as Twitter.
That's our next subject. That's our next subject.
Where basically they showed in that interview where Bob Iger said like, oh, Disney's not political. We don't have a secret agenda. And then they cut to all the times that the people making the content in Disney were talking about the secret agenda. And it just made Iger look like either a complete buffoon or like he was lying his ass off. And so like, I love D-Dub's channel along with Valiant Renegade and Midnight's Edge and all these guys who really dive into like the business aspect of this, because like the insights we're getting from these channels is so dead on accurate. You wonder how anyone within the actual company can't see the signs like these guys do. Like they're just YouTubers.
Yeah.
They're not actually executives.
Let me give you a funny example
to it.
Go ahead, Dubs.
Oh, well, I was going to give you a funny anecdote about Disney and the channel. So a couple of days ago, we put out a video because, well, we've been covering the parks extensively because that's been one of the last divisions of Disney that has held on and been highly profitable, consistent, and now that is changing. And so one of the videos we did is that there's a hotel at Walt Disney World that is specifically for military families. It's a wonderful thing that the company does. It's in conjunction with the Department of Justice and Department of Defense. And so it's called Shades of Green. Now, this hotel is magnificent. And it has always had a walkway, a very short walkway that allows the military family members to go and get on the monorail, which is a big deal at Walt Disney World, 40 square miles. It's nice to be able to go get into the transportation and just go to the parks. For whatever reason, they have decided to barricade that walkway, top to bottom. They no longer can the military families walk on this path and go get on the monorail. And this has been this way for months, right? So we sent a reporter out there with a camera and walked the sidewalk and videoed it. And then I did some narration on this. And the idea was just to show the audience just how ludicrous this is. There's supposed to be road construction. There's not been road construction ever. And there's still no road construction. And so this is just preventing military family members, some of whom, by the way, may have lost a family member in the line of service, from walking and getting on the monorail. Well, after that video premiered, for 3 days straight, they had police officers, they had a cruiser with lights on, and they had security on that walkway preventing anyone from walking on it. Up until that point, they didn't care. People could, jump the gates, walk the walkway, who cared? After that video came out. So you better believe that Disney is watching, and we would like for them to watch and learn the lessons and get their act together. That would be the best thing that they could do. But it's a funny story there.
So real quick before we pivot, I was listening to Ben Shapiro's podcast this morning where he was talking about the reaction to his Barbie review.
Oh.
and he coined a term which I thought is just so fantastic because it really describes the inherent problem at Disney and Hollywood in general. And he basically uses the term peeling. And peeling he got from like the Jordan Peele movies, where basically the movies are either substandard or bad, but people give them glowing reviews or praise because they like the politics surrounding them, which basically Ben Shapiro attributes to Jordan Peele's entire directing career, where it's like he makes these really bad movies with a really good political messaging that hits all the right hot button topics. And so like the reviewers, when they give him glowing reviews, they're not really reviewing the movie, they're endorsing his politics.
Or what they do, Matt, is they give a ho-hum review and then they give it just enough score that it's positive on Rotten Tomatoes, right? So you get like this. That's okay,
Yeah, exactly.
But
but now we have a verb for it called peeling.
there you go.
And what's interesting is that a lot of Disney's most recent movies, they're not even peeling them in the media, because like Indiana Jones, it got really terrible reviews at Cannes. Those bad reviews kind of heralded the box office failure of the movie. And most of Disney's movies, like if you look at Elemental and like all this other stuff that they've released this year, Access Media used to hold their nose and give them praise.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Overlook things and stuff.
yeah. Like I mean, freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show got an Emmy nomination, for God's sake. But
For what? Best hair?
yeah, but
I think it was best acting.
Really?
Best destruction of the franchise.
I could go to a
the
lot
best
of them.
disappointment of the year.
Yeah.
But that seems to be like a running theme in which that the movies that get pushed the most and get the most praise nowadays aren't exactly the best movies. They're just the movies with the right political message that the reviewers get behind, or the studio makes the reviewers get behind, you know.
I don't know.
And Disney
I feel
must
like
know
that's
that
why-
Disney must know they've been wiped out in that regard, because Chris Gore and Pauly of Latino Slant, they both said that after the cratering, is what I'm going to call it, the cratering of Cannes, that Disney sought out anyone who had the ability to put a review up on Rotten Tomatoes and brought them into private screenings at Disney, you know, in Burbank, and had an open bar with very high-end liquors, alcohol, etc.
So they had to get them drunk.
Yeah, well,
Wonder if
they
they had
said
Snoop Dogg gin there.
Hey man,
Well,
that's
they
what
said
we
they had
do when we
4
bring people to the studio. We're like,
There you go.
welcome to the
I
studio,
mean, I'm not
folks.
drinking, but yes.
they had 4 tables of open bar and 1 small table where they had empanadas. So there you go. That was
just real quick. I don't mean to interject, but that is a good way to ask the people in the chat to go to our iTunes page and give us a 5-star review, because we are this close to being one of those people that are eligible to write a legitimate
we've had
review.
190 5-star reviews for like a year, and we keep trying to get to 200 so we can apply to be a movie critic on Rotten Tomatoes. But for whatever reason,
But it doesn't mean that they're going to accept us.
But for whatever reason, nobody wants. There aren't 10 people out there that want to give us 5 stars.
Give me about
Please,
like 2
there's-
hours.
there's
and I'll make a bunch of
150
Gmail
people.
accounts and just
There's 150 people in
If
this
we can
chat.
get how many more? 5 more?
5,
5-star
10 more?
reviews
Yeah,
on,
but
on
they,
Apple iTunes.
they have to have an iPhone, which is the deal.
I'm sure there's
There's
there
150.
Mom.
Yeah, come
Yeah,
on.
you don't even have to write a review. You just need to put 5 stars in.
Yeah. So we're gonna apply to be Rotten Tomatoes score people, and then we'll be able to kind of like we'll be able to tilt it in the right direction.
The Nerds Talking guys have like 140 5-star reviews.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they
do
do.
Do you
the
think-
logo thieves.
Yeah. They're our friends.
Fuck those
They
guys.
got ripped off by Fiverr. Come on.
Do you think the whole media not having their backs anymore could be the reason, because there are now so many different channels that
It's
actually
just
give it straight, that
I
people
just-
actually
yeah.
rather go watch
I just feel like it's
Critical
so
Drinker and other
undeniable.
people.
Like, well, yeah, we are the what does the Nerdrotic say all the time? We are now the new media.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
do you
people go
think
to us.
they're
Yeah.
realizing that their
Us, as if
jobs
it's me,
are in
but-
jeopardy, and they're like, oh shit, we better like get on the train of
Well,
being honest about these things.
I'm
instead.
actually surprised at like how like the industry media turned on Disney.
Especially with Indiana Jones.
Well, my guess is that in the shakeup between Chapek and Iger coming back, that they missed some of their payoffs for.
And I was
Oh.
supposed to be the savior. He was
Yeah.
supposed to be the guy who
Yeah,
came in,
but for
brought it
for
all
whatever
back.
for whatever reason, the media is actually being honest about Disney. And it's kind of funny, Dubs, because like we even saw this in one of the earnings calls for Disney, where basically they said, where they had people just flat out ask him, it's like, why are you injecting politics into
Listen, those
Disney?
earnings calls are more entertaining than their movies. They're fantastic. I
yeah.
can't wait for the next one.
So the real question here, and this is the thing that blew Alex's mind, is we know that Disney is putting like some of their TV properties up for sale, like ABC,
National
ESPN,
Geographic, yep.
FX, stuff like that. But the real question is like how
and by the way, that's for Hulu
how
again.
valid are these rumors that the entire Disney company is up for sale, especially when it comes to Apple, which dwarfs their valuation, like Apple's like multi-trillion-dollar company. So like,
So-
is there any truth to the rumors that Apple could absorb Disney?
So let's take the media parts first in terms of the linear broadcast. So on that front, this is all to find the money to be able to buy Hulu without having to take on more debt. They already have plenty of that from Fox. If you are looking at why, though, they are selling, you won't find on the mainstream media anything about Hulu. They don't talk about that at all. They just talk about the fact that, well, linear broadcast is failing. What they fail to mention is that if linear broadcast is failing, fine enough. We all agree that it's going to be on a slow decline, maybe more rapid, depending on what you think. But the reality is that Disney could simply spin these things into being streaming. Like you could have an ABC tab inside Disney Plus. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that because they need money. How do you get money? Well, you sell these things. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of can the entire company be sold to Apple? Perhaps Apple would want them. I don't think Apple wants into the theme park business. But whoever were to buy Disney, they would likely have to break the company apart into pieces. And that comes down to the fact that, well, you look at the difficulty that Microsoft has had in buying just Activision Blizzard, right? That has faced hurdles. Europe has been a real pain in that. Can you imagine if another media company were trying to buy Disney? You would have all kinds of claims of monopolization coming at that company. And so you would have many years of trying to clear those hurdles internationally. And then that gets even more difficult if you do it.
I already feel like Disney has a monopoly on too many things. They have ESPN, they have ABC, they have all these freaking huge marketing and like news organizations.
Does anybody really watch National Geographic anymore?
It's included in Disney Plus.
I have it, but does anybody actually?
I like that the animal scientific channels on Disney Plus. I'll check those things out once in a while. But I'll tell you, Apple TV has the Prehistoric Planet documentary thing about the dinosaurs. That is legit. Apple makes good TV shows.
Oh yeah,
they just don't market it to anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
They make really good shows and then they just don't say anything,
except for a Crowded Room. But yeah.
So let's think about who would want to buy Disney, okay? Because it's a much easier answer 3 years ago, right? If we go back and let's go back to 2019, so we're pre-pandemic. Disney is in an awesome place, and so if you have the money to buy Disney, which very few companies would. And even though let's put it into a theoretical world where you don't have to worry about the monopolization issues. Okay, Disney would have been a very attractive company to whatever behemoth company existed that could buy them. Very attractive. Today, what are you buying? Let's just break it down into Lucasfilm for a moment. Okay, let's think about this. Who wants Lucasfilm?
George Lucas.
And let's get real about it.
No, he doesn't. He sold it.
I know.
I want it. Okay, so I'll pay $20 for it.
So let's do the George Lucas thing, though, because it is funny. But think about this. People have theorized that George Lucas might want to buy back Lucasfilm. Now, I don't think he does, and I don't think that that's possible. But
yeah,
let's pretend for a moment. Lucasfilm has been turned into, under Kathleen Kennedy, a studio that is bereft of merit. And the entire studio hates everything that George Lucas did. Why would you want to hire those or buy those people into your coven, right? That's not what you would want. Marvel has seen better days. The parks the parks might be the best thing you could buy, honestly, because they'd be the easiest that you could fix. And if you buy Pixar, you're essentially paying for the legacy of John Lasseter, but you get no Lasseter because he hugged too much. So what is there to buy in this company that is actually worth what the company would have to be required in order for you to purchase it? I don't see that the value is there.
It could be if they turn things around and start making money again.
They're never going to turn things around. If they haven't gotten the multiple red flags that for the last year and a half of all of their productions, all of their loss of money, they're not going to turn around. I don't know why they hate losing money. I mean,
they love losing money.
I mean, I know. I don't know why. I don't know. At what point will they say, "Okay, we've ran out"? Like,
well, you know, it's funny. Sorry, I know we gotta get to the super chat. The thing is that all these people who are pushing this secret agenda, they all thought that Disney is too big to fail. It's a company that will succeed no matter how much you try to screw it up. But we're seeing right now the chickens are coming home to roost.
Yep.
And Disney is starting to pay for its bad decisions. And when it starts hurting enough, that's when the change will start happening. But I don't think it's quite there yet, because Iger, who set the stage for this whole thing, he doesn't believe that they're in as bad a shape as everyone else thinks they are.
Well, of course not. He's got his money. He doesn't care.
Well, it's not about him not caring, because he does have a legacy that he wants to preserve, and he does care about the company because it was his baby for a long time.
But let's play this out, Matt. Think about this. Okay, so you brought up what is her name? Latoya Ravenel. She's the woman you're talking about who had the not so secret agenda.
Well, there are multiples of them. Yeah.
Right. She's the one who worked on the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, and then she was promoted. Okay. Disney is now losing money hand over fist. She's still there. Do any of us think that the woman who came out and said that she had a not so secret agenda, do any of us believe that she has come to the conclusion that she's in the wrong and they should stop doing this? No. I mean, you're talking about ideologues. Ideologues don't care. They just want to institute sociocultural change, and they see Disney as the vehicle to do so. Iger's not in that camp. Iger's got to make money. He's just flummoxed on how to do it, big time flummoxed. But these other people that they brought in over the last years, they want to institute change in our culture. That's what they want. They said it out loud.
I'm going to get back to that in just one second. I got to do the super chat. $2 from JT. Hey, do those other guys need a logo? I know a guy. We'll point them in your direction if they decide to take that on.
Yeah,
also,
I'm not sure they can afford JT.
Yeah. We've got somebody in the comments that's doing some pushback, which I like. I like seeing some dissenting opinions in here. Jesus. One of those channels. Lucasfilm was bought for $4 billion. Now it's worth $70 billion.
No, it's not.
I feel like are we sure Aisha is not Dr. Evil at some point?
I don't know.
$70 billion.
Marvel also bought for $4 billion, now worth $60 billion. Do you have any comments on that, Pro?
We did a video on this not long ago, and out of Bloomberg, actually, they determined that Lucasfilm is probably worth 50 to 75% of what it was worth at the time of purchase. And so, if you think about it, if you wanted to buy Lucasfilm, if any company wanted to buy it, well, what would you be buying? You would be buying a studio that has failed 3 times in a row theatrically. So, that's no good. You'd be buying
$2 billion.
Yeah, somewhere around $2 billion.
Okay.
So here's what you'd be buying. The good stuff you'd be buying, because the rest is sort of negative. You don't want it. You would be buying the Star Wars franchise that you would have to fix. You would be buying, the Indiana Jones franchise is dead, so take that. You'd be buying the Lucas, what is it called? LucasArts games, from the 90s, so Day of the Tentacle, Sam and Max, etc. You'd be buying that. The main thing you'd be buying is ILM. That's the only real successful part of Lucasfilm right now. The rest of it, do you want Boba Fett? You want that? Really? You want Andor? That. Really?
I think with the right direction, you could turn that around. There's still people out there who have brand loyalty, and all they want is good Star Wars. If you start putting out 1 or 2 good movies and have a track record of hey, they're turning things around. These were actually good flicks. I'm having fun again. The fan base would freaking light on fire in a half a second.
And we should also point out, real quick, Dubs, we should also point out that part of that $4 billion sale, 60% of that was Disney stock, right? So,
to
Lucas?
Yeah.
And he donated most of it too, I think, is what I heard.
The connection, so you bring up a good connection there with Disney. Part of that sale was the fact that Disney could use these properties in their theme parks, right? So that's you got Galaxy's Edge. So why is Lucasfilm not worth the same amount today? Well, if you sold Lucasfilm, you don't get to do the Star Wars stuff in your parks, because Disney's never going to sell away the rights for them to have Star Wars. They put it in their most primo real estate in Disneyland. So that can't go with it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is all way over my head.
$700 billion.
$billion.
And we also have to point out that when it comes to big studios or big companies like Disney and stuff like that, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on. Part of what makes Dub's channel so interesting is they actually try to translate what studio accounting is like, right? So
left hand to the right hand,
I think I forget who it was, but someone said in response to why doesn't Hollywood make $30 million movies anymore? Why does everything have to be $300 million? And then someone responded, well, it's really hard to launder money with a $30 million movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
but one of the interesting things is that so let's take Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, right? So one of the tricks that will be used, and it's not illegal, but it tricks the average person. One of the tricks they'll be used to support that it made more money than it really did is that this thing will be sold to Disney Plus. Well, who gets to decide how much it's worth? Disney. They're gonna decide that Disney Plus will buy Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny from Lucasfilm for $100 million, whatever, and then that gets to be added to the overall income for the movie, and then that gets to make it seem like it was a greater success. But again, it was just moving money from the back pocket to the left pocket to the right pocket and back again.
Yeah. As far as Indiana Jones goes, being a dead franchise, it is in live action. I think if you were going to do anything with that franchise, you would have to do an animated show or animated movies or something. I could see a TV show.
Comic books too. I could see
comic books. I'd watch an animated Indiana Jones movie, not movie, but a TV show if it was done well. And they got like freaking, what's that kid's name that did Harrison Ford really well? Anthony and Gruber. If they got him to come back,
I forgot about that guy for a long time. I was trying to think of his name the other day.
Yeah, and do the voice for Harrison Ford, for a young Harrison Ford, and have the Adventures of Indiana Jones animated, and have a really fun, unique, cool animation style.
Wasn't there a concept video or something put out a few years back that was really neat about an animated Indiana Jones?
There was a comic book that I remember reading that I thought was really awesome, and was just like a fan made thing. And I'm like, yeah, I would consume this as a product if they wanted to do something with Indy. It's not a dead franchise. It's dead as far as like, Harrison Ford's not going to come back.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Indiana Jones, right? Like at this point, the only thing left to do is to reboot it without Harrison Ford if you want to continue it. And they've already said that they don't want to do that. But in addition to that, you have like Willow, which is so dead that Disney took it off Disney Plus and they're memory holing it because it lost them so much money. Then you also have Star Wars, which is basically like it's alienated every legacy fan for the most part, to the point where like people just don't care about it anymore. This is a franchise that after Return of the Jedi survived for something like 30 years just based off of like fan passion for it alone. And then they wipe out the entire EU. They push terrible sequels to it to the point where people actually think that the prequels are good now. Basically Lucasfilm has systematically just run each valuable IP it has into the ground. And at this point, you just need to almost like start over if you want to salvage anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make a video game for Lucasfilm. We'll see how much enthusiasm there is for that now.
Which video game is that?
It's they don't have a name for it yet. There was an Indiana Jones video game though that was announced under development, I think.
Because I remember there's a couple good indie games. I mean, I'm a fan of the classic ones from the 90s, but there was Fate of Atlantis is great. I love that storyline. And then there's a more recent one that's done. I think it's like a PlayStation 3 game or something like that. It was Indiana Jones and it was some tomb, the
Emperor's
Tomb. I thought that was a good game. I liked it. There's plenty of ways that you could make money off of these franchises still.
I say just continue in comics. That's what they did with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They've done it with a lot of.
And I feel like even us, the saltiest of fans, if you do it right a handful of times, we're gonna come back and be like, "Oh, sweet, you're doing it right now." Thanks.
It'll be a word of mouth.
Yeah.
I feel if they do a really good if they do a really good Star Wars movie, not a lot of people are going to bite for the initial, but it's going to be a word of mouth thing.
I know how to fix it. I mean,
I liked how you fixed Indiana Jones. So
let's let Seth Rogen fix it. He can fix
Seth Rogen.
I'm out. Though I will say that new Teenage Mutant
Miriam
Ninja
gets the
Turtles
April O'Neil treatment.
Hold on, I thought this person left. She said we were done, that we're too silly, but then she's still commenting. But it's fine. I mean, I get it. She's still going at us saying that we're.
I like Aisha. I mean, she's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I don't know anything about these finances. This is not my area of expertise.
I'm listening. Have their opinions.
Yeah, I'm listening to Pro. I'm going. Okay.
I feel like I should have Aisha on my channel at some point.
Go for it.
She's dropping some thoughts out there, and I like most of what she's saying.
I'll tell you from my experience, Dubs. When it comes to the financials of this stuff, the true barometer of how healthy a franchise is are the licensing deals that they're able to make off of them. And one of the things that I've always argued in terms of like Star Trek is that you can tell when New Trek is failing when people just aren't willing to pay for the licenses to make like toys, clothing, apparel, stuff like that. So I would be really interested to kind of get an inside look into like what are the licensing deals for Indiana Jones? What are the licensing deals for Star Wars? What are the licensing deals for Willow? And are they going up in price? Are they going down in price? Does anyone actually like want them? We know for a fact that like Star Wars is one of the most marketable franchises like in history. But we keep seeing like toy store shelves filled with merchandise. So the question then becomes is like, are people actually getting anything for those licenses? And will they eventually like let those licenses lapse? And will Disney have to start like lowering the cost of them in order to, continue to license them out? Because licensing is really, in my opinion, the true barometer for how healthy a franchise is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and take note of the fact that Mario and Sonic, both of those franchises, now have huge spots inside the big box retailers. And where do you think that space came from, right? That space was valuable. It is valuable. And it came out of some of these other brands like Star Wars that have received shrinking spaces. And the real concern that Disney has to have is that Nintendo, we are told, and it seems to be coming to fruition in the latest Mario Wonder game, we're seeing this now, Nintendo realizes that if they push their princesses, that they could actually take on the Disney princess line with Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Rosalina, and more. So,
Zelda, dude.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they'll ever do a Zelda.
Why?
The whole illusion of him not having a voice and then to give him a voice, I don't think a lot of people would be.
I think
it's coming.
And Seamus could be a princess.
All right, enough about Disney and their
Girl boss
nonsense.
Christmas.
We're going to switch topics real quick. We're going to talk about another
It's
billionaire.
X-rated.
It's called X now. It's no longer Twitter.
That's who should buy Disney. There you go.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
yes.
He's broke. He spent too much money on this broken app that he can't use.
Yeah, like I've been a big supporter of Musk, but in my opinion, this was a dumb thing to do.
This is just as bad, in my opinion. This is just as bad as HBO dropping the HBO logo and going to Max.
Yeah.
I don't
Peacock,
call
it's
it
your move now.
Yeah, change it to cock.
Wasn't HBO doing that because Max? They were gonna.
They got bought. There was some purchasing
Aren't
thing
they like
by
pushing more of like a TLC type of stuff on their stuff?
So when Discovery came in, one of the big controversies when they launched HBO Max originally, was that they were devaluing the HBO brand because HBO used to be like Prestige TV and stuff like that. And so the decision to remove HBO from the streaming service was to allow HBO to continue on as its own brand and the streaming thing to be something else. But, you already had it branded. So like it's kind of like
I still call it HBO.
Yeah.
I don't call it Max.
So do
I just call it. You know what annoys me?
When I'm like,
I go to the TV app and I just out of reflex, I'll go to HBO and it'll take me to the page. Please download Max. I'm like, I already downloaded this.
I mean, they should just call it Warner's Plus or something like that.
That's I would really Warner's Plus. Okay,
just
I really don't know why you guys all got your knickers in a twist over this freaking thing. It doesn't matter to me. I mean.
Which part? The Twitter part?
The Twitter part. Any of it. It's like, listen, Elon Musk is the world's richest dude. Okay.
Yeah.
He just took over the mantle. He got it back yesterday, as a matter of fact. He's gonna play with his toys. He's gonna do what he wants.
I'm with you, Vader.
I feel like people just want to complain about something. Who cares? If he wants to rebrand his thing that he bought from Jack Dorsey into something that he wants to make it. Twitter is Jack Dorsey's thing. It's not Elon's thing. Maybe he wants to call it something different. His brand is X. SpaceX.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. It's
Model X.
I get it. It's totally okay with me. Twitter is morphing. It is transforming. It is becoming something way more than a silly little message service with 140 characters that we had a couple of years ago.
I'm on board with you. I think I think there's way more that he has planned. Now, whether he can be successful,
let me tell you why you're both wrong.
Well,
what are you guys gonna do? Go over to Threads?
No. I don't even use Twitter that much. I have like 100 followers on there. I don't care.
Here's the thing.
But I just thought it was. I'm like,
we know it's a recognizable brand. We know this.
Well,
but so was Elon Musk.
It's not just about the branding, right? So like part of like the massive price tag for this thing was the brand and the user base. And the thing is that Twitter is a world recognized, company. It's something that's become a verb. Like when you say like I tweeted something out, Like that's in the lexicon. It's part of the fabric of our society. Like news stations, look at Twitter as like a subsection of like their of their news distribution network. The fact that Elon paid as much as he did was partly for the brand, and for him to like rebrand it, especially like without much fanfare. Like look at what happened when Facebook rebranded to Meta. Like people are still refusing to call it Meta because it's stupid.
Yeah.
And X is even more stupid because it's like, well, now instead of tweeting it out, are you Xing it out? Are you crossing it out? like what the hell are you supposed to do with that? I mean, like I'm in support of Elon Musk and what he wants to do with his company, but I feel like this rebranding, especially like how quickly and unceremoniously he did it, like the blue bird is iconic, right? So the idea that he just rolls this out.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's really weird, and I even tweeted about like how I think it's a mistake.
You mean you X'd about it?
Yeah, I X'd about it. I crossed about it.
What you just brought up about Facebook becoming Meta is spot on, because not a single person out there calls that app Meta. It's just Facebook is Facebook. It's been around for freaking however long. It's just a branding thing, and
haven't used Facebook.
But I mean, it's
years.
a branding thing for our generation. Generations that are going to come up now with this are going to call it X. And then
say
20, 30 years from now, they'll rebrand it to something else. And they'll be like, why don't we call it X anymore?
But the thing about X is that Elon wants to transition Twitter from a micro-blogging platform, which is where it found its success, where it's found its niche, into an everything app. So it's going to be something kind of close to WeChat, where like you use it to pay for stuff. You use it for video. You use it for podcasting. You use it for everything. And I can see like the ideal, but like I'm like, if this is really his end goal, if this is why he wanted it, why did he bother buying Twitter? Why couldn't he have just spent far less money to launch his own thing? Like the users would, like Threads, for as much as you want to make fun of it, it got like 30 million people to check it out within its first day. If Elon Musk came out and said, "Hey, I'm doing my own thing,"
I disagree.
But is there more people on Twitter than that? I feel he bought it for the foundation. Some people have Twitter accounts that don't even use them, but they just have
the number
them.
of Twitter users is infinitesimal compared to the number of Facebook users out there, number of Instagram users. Like it would have been easy for him to just like make his own version of Twitter, kind of like what Mark Zuckerberg
completely
did,
disagree.
and get people to go over there.
Completely disagree. I think if he would have made his own mock Twitter, people would have been like, "Oh, Elon has a stupid Twitter thing." Okay, yeah,
he bought the platform that gave him the people who hate him. So he bought his haters.
You want drama and chaos, you go to X.
and then he brought in all the parlor folks.
Threads is cratering. Everybody went to Threads when they announced it. I'm going to check out Threads. And then they went back to Twitter because it's not Twitter.
The funny thing about Threads, Matt, is that they've basically censored anything that made people engage with stuff. Like the fact that like you can like have flame wars on Twitter is what keeps Twitter or X alive.
Yeah.
And with Threads, because they wanted it to be a safe space, there's nothing there for people to really respond to because it's all just vanilla.
It's just, in a sense, like a Black Mirror episode where it's just all happy, like good. You're only seeing what they want you to see is the positive ends. And if you want to go to X for all, the fighting, the chaos, the people
just
calling
like,
each other Nazi or stuff like that.
It would have been the exact same thing as whatever Trump's app was called. It would
was it
Truth
Social?
Yeah,
it's the same exact thing.
Everybody knows that these, everybody's gone out there. I'm going to make my own Twitter version. I'm going to do my own thing. It's like,
but
and they go and do it, but then they don't, and then everybody comes back to Twitter, and those things just sit there with their little tiny
10,000
clicky people of 20,000 people, and it doesn't matter.
But here's what you guys are ignoring. Okay, so all these Twitter competitors and stuff like that, they're all made from people who don't have any experiences in tech and social media. Elon Musk made PayPal. He created a rocket agency that takes stuff to to outer space. Like he could have started his own social media platform and probably would have been able to launch it far more successfully than buying a broken platform, finding out all this shady shit that's going on there, and basically having to rebuild it from scratch anyway, and then rebrand it. Like it's a strange way of going about doing things, because it's like, what do you call Twitter blue now? Is it just like Blue X?
X Blue or something? I mean, if he created his own, then it would be uploaded to every Tesla model, just like how what's that band's name that came uploaded to your
Oh,
iPhone
YouTube.
every single time? You're
YouTube.
like, damn it, I've got
Uh,
this X on my Tesla model. I don't know how to get rid of it.
And people hate you too now because of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to blow over. I like where he's going with it to kind of be another option to YouTube and all the other.
Sure, yeah, I'm all
I mean, it's
for
another,
I'm all for competition
know.
for YouTube and stuff like that. I
You know,
love
so-
the fact
so-
that it goes around.
Okay, so let's this is really important. So this idea that it's a competitor to YouTube, or it could be, this is massive, because what that does, and most of you out there already know it, but let's articulate it. What it does is all of these channels that we've heard about that suddenly they're gone and they can't get a good explanation, and they have to go to Twitter or X and they have to tag Team YouTube and beg for help, right?
Mhm.
We've seen this time and time again, and we know people who've done this, and we know people who there's no way in the world they did anything wrong. Well, when you have a competitor, that can mitigate that concern, because if YouTube is faced with a Twitter/X, whatever we want to call this, that is actually viable and providing monetization to, the new age media, whatever we are, then YouTube has to think twice, because unlike Rumble, and no offense to Rumble, right? It's viable, but Twitter/X could be massive. And we need somebody else out there in this space who can be abrasive to YouTube, and that YouTube has to fear, and that YouTube says, let's really not run off that channel, because they're going to go to our competitor and get double the views. So let's not. And we need that.
I have a question for you, Pro. Do you think he will be a bigger competition to YouTube than what Rumble is now, or what Rumble would grow to?
I think he has absolutely the potential to be, yes.
Okay.
I mean, they're already doing rev sharing over on X.
Yeah, people got random checks.
Very slow process.
Well, it's based off of how many ads people see in your responses. So like if someone clicks on the cross, I don't know, tweet.
It's an X. It's an X, man.
It's an X. Okay, if somebody clicks on the X and they read through the comments and they see an ad in those comments, then the creator of the original tweet gets credited a certain amount of money. And so like you had people who are very popular and get like a lot of engagement, seeing like $1,000, $10,000 checks.
The
stuff like that.
Cranstein brothers, whatever, the Trump replier guys, they got like 25,000 or something.
Yeah, I think Tim Pool got something like $15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
you got to wonder about Tucker Carlson as well. Whatever.
Yeah,
he's doing,
and already like if you look at YouTube's success, the reason YouTube's successful is that people are actually able to make money by creating content on it. And so if Elon is able to kind of like, work his way in there and start incentivizing people to use the app to create content in order to get paid, then it's like an actual competitor. They don't even need videos. They just need the creators to be over there.
And I think what he wants to do is I think he wants a YouTube/blogging site that also brings in the components of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pay, like the money is instantly paid through there. So imagine, and I don't know how this is going to work, and I don't know how long it'll take him to get there. He says, 4 to 5 years it'll take to mature X. But imagine a site that's like YouTube, that's like what Twitter was, that has the components of Amazon, but also has Cash App or Venmo, already installed into it. And you can see, well, that's something. I don't know how it works, but it's something. And
it's going to put the central bank digital currency involved with it.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Dogecoin is going to be the official currency.
Yeah, I'm not going to discount the guy who has revolutionized multiple industries, because revolutionizing a single industry is enough to put you in the history books. Doing it in multiple domains is enough to say, all right, well, you're the Edison of our age, whether I like you or I don't like you. You're something special. So have at it, Elon. Let's see what you got with X. Maybe you're smarter than all of us. I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the chaos. I just thought, I'm like, branding wise, I'm just like, why would you even bother doing that?
I can't wait till next year for election year. I can't wait to see.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna
and
be great.
And think about that with election, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were on the precipice of not having a place to be able to communicate, and now, we have something.
Before we get out of here, we're going to read our last couple of super chats. $10 from Backyard TARDIS. Thank you, Nick, very much. One of the problems with looking at merch is this generation is spending on video games and mobile games. Star Wars may not be selling new figures, but look how many game skins they do sell. That's interesting. I don't play enough like online video games to really know the answer to that, but that's an interesting point. Digital skins and digital currency and stuff like that, as far as upgrades and DLC and whatnot.
Well, I bet this
I don't
is
know.
about
I don't know how
Fortnite.
profitable that is. I don't know. It's
I
interesting.
bet this is about Fortnite, and I would say go check out on Fortnite the proportion of players who are using original trilogy skins versus anything that has come out of modern day Lucasfilm, and you'll find that bell curve is way different than what you would expect.
Yeah.
Well, except for the viewers of this channel, I'm sure.
$2 from Marks47. I bet 50% plus of threads first day was people just grabbing usernames. Hey, V, isn't that what you did?
It is, but I don't think you have to worry about it because I think they're connected to your Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to tell you to go get Salty Nerd over there on Threads so nobody else grabs it, but you already have Salty Nerd podcast on Instagram and they're connected. You use the same account. So I don't think that's a thing, but whatever.
Okay.
But I made a little video on Twitter the other day of me from my phone face just pushing the delete button on Threads, so whatever, man. It sucks.
Vader, me and you need to put our bank accounts together and go buy GeoCities. You want to do it? Let's start our own.
Sure.
Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, GeoCities. That's awesome.
Anybody want to
it-
buy
yeah.
MySpace? I hear Friendster's for sale.
Is MySpace
I find
still
it-
around?
I find it kind
I
of
don't know.
funny that me being the guy who hates change. I mean, I literally hate change. It drives me crazy.
Tell me more, Vader.
But I'm like the only person that I know that I think doesn't have a problem with Elon Musk playing with his toys. It's really funny. I'm fascinated by it. And
It's all that Dayquil he's been taking.
I
It's just a mess.
The
of
Dayquil
brain.
talking. No, I don't know, man.
I'm very curious where this goes. I'm very curious because
I'm a fan of the chaos that he creates. But
I'm a fan of Elon Musk, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I like his. He's if you were a Dungeons and Dragons player, I got it in. If he was a Dungeons and Dragons guy, he would have a chaotic neutral
Oh, that's what I play all the
alignment.
time.
That's what I think he would be, and it's fun to watch him do his thing. You know what I mean?
If he loses X, does it affect his bank account at all?
He's the richest
No.
man in the world. It
I don't
has
think
no
so.
effect on him at all.
Right.
think he'll
So
ever
if he
sell it?
loses X, it's like if we lose a cheeseburger.
Well, I don't know about that. It'd be
It's
like
more
me
than that.
maybe if I lost my car or something, but I'll get another car. It's
Right.
not a big deal.
I think he
So-
should buy Disney. Maybe he can turn everything around.
I don't know. You might not like what you see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He's
I mean,
He's too
what's-
much of a wild card, man. I don't
Every
know what to
Disney
expect of
movie
him.
would have a Tesla in it.
Yeah.
His net worth as of yesterday is $242.4 billion.
You know, there's some
I mean,
prince.
come
There's
on.
some prince in the Middle East that is just scoffing at that amount of money.
That's
He's the
toilet
richest-
paper wrapped up, dude. Like he
It's
doesn't-
nuts. It's nuts.
It's
So-
crazy.
And he doesn't live like a billionaire, too, from what my
He
understanding.
doesn't even own a
is.
house.
He doesn't care about materialistic stuff, from my end,
Well,
except
I
it's
don't know.
Well,
rockets or cars.
He did spend a lot of money on hair plugs. So.
Yeah,
That's true.
he got his hair back. He's got a little bit of vanity.
He's got to
he
he's got to
wants-
get ready for that fight against Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
at
he
the
wants to change
Coliseum.
the world. He wants everybody to have babies, and he wants to change the world. So let's, good for
Why
him.
doesn't he call
Good for him.
Starlink Star X?
That's a good
Maybe
question.
he'll change the name.
Maybe
I
it's
see
not
little-
part of.
I got little shadows of feet coming in under my door. There's
Oh, yeah. It's about time for us to wrap it up anyway, guys.
That's the feds.
Thank you. Yes, the feds. Thank you all for joining us on the live stream today. Really appreciate it. Shout out to our super chatters. Let me go down. Super chatters. That sounds weird. JT Xers, Joker Voice. Let's see. No Money G, Foxhound, Backyard TARDIS, Dork Knight. You guys are Mark's 47. Also, I don't know if he's the first time super chatter or not, but thank you, sir, so much for the support. You guys are amazing. You guys help us to create this content. It's me in specific, paying my bills, putting food on my table. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Let's see. WDW Pro, what is next for you? What do you got going on for your channel? Shout it out. Go for it.
Well, videos come out every day, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Pro Show is live this Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have Eric July returning once more with the Rippaverse gang. We're going to do it all over again as we talk about what is going down with Barbie. Is a new box office phenomenon breaking forth that is changing the market, and men are not even a part of it. We'll talk about it all right there on the Pro Show. Come hang out with me, folks. Would love
I'll
to have
watch
you.
it. I'll be there.
Invite Aisha over there to your
Yeah.
channel.
Listen,
so
I
she
would
can-
love to have
gonna tell
Aisha.
her,
I
like,
would
the
literally
only-
have Aisha on a video if Aisha would like to join
She
and
yeah.
have a meeting of the intellects We'll see if she can oust a social reject. I think is what she called
Oh,
us.
I'll be in
She
the
called
chat.
us.
I'll be
She
there.
called us middle-aged men anxious about
Guys.
social change or something like that. I can't remember what the chat was.
Excuse me, I identify as a woman, so
Never
it's cool.
never
I
point
do
out the
appreciate. I
trolls,
just want to
guys.
say I do appreciate that our chat. Nobody in the chat even came close to any kind of a verbal attack or a keyboard warrior moment against her, even though she was doing some dissenting opinions
it's
in
because
there.
I wasn't in the chat.
And it's totally fine.
Yeah.
I
No,
appreciate that our community is not interested in going after people like that. I really thank you guys.
We're not
genuinely.
X.
Yeah.
I also
You're
don't,
not out there.
I don't understand the people. Well, I do understand, but I'm not necessarily, mentally endangered or worried or concerned when someone has a differing opinion from myself.
Yeah.
Now, the personal insults, who cares? But yeah, I like.
No, she
discourse
was.
That's how I felt about Barbie. Like everybody can have their own opinion. Just
Yeah.
there's no point in going into insults.
You're wrong.
She was cordial throughout the whole. I was keeping an eye on it. She didn't throw any kind of insults anyway, except
Just
for
calling you middle-aged.
just call me
men
middle aged.
in a silo.
Oh my God, I guess I'm only gonna live to 60. Oh God. Anyway, V, talk to me
What?
about Saturday, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Saturday? I don't know. What's Saturday?
Do you have a live stream? Okay, we have a live stream, guys, at 10 a.m. on Saturdays. And Kadish over here works his butt off to get some incredible guests on there. We had Dave Cullen on there last week. We also had Nerdrotic shows up every once in a while to help us out. So show up on Saturdays at 10 a.m. for the Saturday live stream show. Those guys are awesome. I'm super jealous that I don't always get to join. Maybe one of these days I will, but I'm usually super busy. So I just let these guys do what they want on Saturdays.
Thank you.
Have fun, kids.
You've got 3 kids.
I've got too much going on. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up, guys. It's been 2 hours. Wonderful 2 hours. WDW Pro, thank you for joining us today. It was wonderful to have your insights on the channel about the Disney acquisition and the possible buyout by Apple. It's a great discussion today. Thank you all so much.
We knew.
Go. Yeah. Oh, should I do it?
Yes.
You should do it.
No, don't.
Yes, do it.
Let's all go away now.